This is WAAY 31 News at 6.
Well, the cold continues to be the big weather story. We've got another punch of very chilly air on the way. I'll have the details in your forecast.
The Lawrence County Sheriff's Department is streamlining its 911 dispatchers. I've got how you could see quicker response times coming up in just a few minutes.
And the message from police after a gun was found at Bob Jones High School on the first day back from Thanksgiving break. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for WAAY 31 News at 6. It is definitely a cold one out there with temperatures only expected to drop later on this evening. Tonight, our team is bringing you weather coverage that you can count on. Reporter Jim Abbott is live with some ways to prevent your windshields from freezing over. But first, we want to go to Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle for a look at this cold forecast. Jeff?
And it is a cold one. It's been that way actually since Thanksgiving. That's when our temperatures began dropping, and they've really not had an opportunity to warm back up to any great degree since then. And we've got another surge of cold air, which is going to push the numbers down even more between today and tomorrow. We're, of course, already on the way down now after the sun has set, dropping back into the 30s in quite a few spots. And if you're not there, you'll be there shortly. Scottsboro coming in at 35 at this hour, 36 Decatur. We're still in the low 40s in Huntsville. It's 42 in Muscle Shoals up in Fayetteville, Tennessee. Already down to 39 degrees there. And again, we are keeping an eye on the radar. There's some snow that is falling. I just checked. Some of that is now reaching the ground in portions of Nashville. It's very light. And what we have in place here across southern Tennessee and North Alabama, very, very dry air. So it took a little while before what we were seeing on radar actually reached the ground there in Nashville. And the bulk of this moisture you can see is kind of tracking east-southeast. So it is primarily going to miss us, but close enough that a couple snow flurries may make their way into parts of southern Tennessee and portions of North Alabama before the evening is out. Right now, though, we're not picking up any of that on WAAY 31 triple Doppler. And again, because of the dry air and that main slug of moisture kind of missing us to the north and to the east, I'm not expecting anything other than maybe a few snow flurries. That'll be about it. Looking in Albertville right now with our Thompson Roofing and Construction Skycam there. It is cold, but otherwise quiet for the moment. Those temperatures will continue to drop back to around freezing by midnight tonight and then into the 20s by tomorrow morning. North wind will stay up as well, around 8 to 10 miles per hour, and that's really going to put a chill in the air stepping out first thing tomorrow morning. I'll be back in a few moments. We will talk about your cold Tuesday ahead and if there's any sort of warm up on the way anytime soon coming up in your forecast.
And remember to prepare for those freezing temperatures overnight by letting your faucets drip to avoid frozen pipes. As you turn on your heaters, be sure to clean out or replace those air filters to save on energy costs. And of course, make sure that your pets are inside overnight. If you have to leave a pet outside, make sure that they have a warm, enclosed place to sleep. And then there's your windshield. No one wants to be late to work because you're stuck scraping ice off your windshield as well as your mirrors. WAAY 31 reporter Jim Abbott talked with some car experts on some of the best and worst ways to prevent the ice from frosting your windshield. Jim, no one likes to wake up to that.
No, Tori, nobody likes to wake up to that. And if you look on the internet, you're going to find all kinds of ways that you can do it. Some proven, some of them not so proven. Now, one of them we keep hearing about is just putting something to cover it, like a cardboard box that you open up and put over it, or a blanket. But the experts say don't do that, especially if you live close to the Tennessee River or a lake, because it's that atmospheric moisture out there. It's going to make your blanket stick to your windshield, and then you have more problems than you would have had with the ice. They say definitely don't use water. Don't use cold water. Some of you might use hot water in order to break it up, and they say that could make the windshield crack. In fact, one of them said that he's seen it just crack right open right in front of him. But there are some things that you can do. We talked with one expert at Pet Boys today, and he said some of the solutions are really quite simple.
I recommend a specific de-icer. Go to the store, they sell the little de-ice cans that you have with the aerosol, or the stuff that you put in your windshield washer reservoir. We've had great success with that.
Some people have also had success with using a vinegar and water solution in order to do it. One other thing that I've seen, and you may have seen yourself, is taking an onion, slicing it, and then rubbing it over the windshield and see if that's going to work. The experts I talked with said they're not going to try it. I'm not going to try it on my car, but maybe I'll try it on the wife's. and I'll let you know how that goes. Live in Huntsville with coverage you can count on. Jim Abbott, WAAY 31 News.
I'm sure she will love that, Jim. We'll get the most accurate current temperatures anytime when you download our WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app. With 3 radars in the Shoals, Huntsville, and Sand Mountain, you can get accurate forecasts anytime right in the palm of your hand. Meantime, a 16-year-old Madison City School student is charged for bringing a gun to Bob Jones High School today. Madison Police Captain Cook says around 10 o'clock this morning, a parent notified them that their child had seen another student with a gun. School resource officers and administrators immediately pulled that student out of class. They say the student had a handgun in a pocket.
And you know, we always just want to, reaffirm or ask the students and the parents again to just report this to us immediately. Anytime they get information that there may be a gun at the school, don't wait to report it. Don't necessarily post it on social media in the hopes that somebody else may report it. Just go ahead and report it to us. Make the police department the first folks that you notify about that.
Police say they are still investigating this incident. Captain Cook says authorities do not believe any students or staff were a direct target of a threat. Improving emergency response times in Lawrence County. That's why Lawrence County is actually restructuring their 911 dispatch. WAAY 31's Georgia Clark spoke with the Lawrence County Sheriff to see exactly what's changing now.
When it comes to medical emergencies, like a heart attack, or emergencies that require deputies, like a mass shooting, every second counts. That's why the Lawrence County Sheriff's Department is hoping to make their county's 911 dispatch run smoother so their response is even faster. Sheriff Max Sanders says with their 911 dispatchers and Sheriff's Department dispatchers working together, it streamlines the entire process.
The dispatcher for the Sheriff's Department and 911 be sitting next to each other, and they could verbally mention a call or just transfer the call lots easier instead of having to transfer it all the way to another office.
Now, with all of these dispatchers soon to be in the same room, they'll be cross-trained to work with one another. So there will be no more having to give your information twice to 2 different offices. But Sanders asked the community to still be patient.
We should appreciate the public and give us a little patience, be a little patient, because I'm sure there's going to be a little transfer, a little practice before they get it in, run more smoothly.
With this new system of operation, this brings down the likelihood of calls being dropped, quicker response, and more efficient operations as a whole for the county. The Sheriff's Department is hoping to have all of their dispatchers transferred over by next week. And to find out more, you can head over to our website, WAAYTV.com. Reporting in Lawrence County with coverage you can count on. Georgia Clark, WAAY 31 News.
Christmas is here in the state capitol. A look at the tree that just arrived in Montgomery. And speaking of trees, how to make sure your setup at home for the holidays is fireproof.
More cold air moving on in. This time might produce a few flurries sometime this evening. I'll have details on that coming up in your forecast.
Coverage you can count on. This is WAAY 31 News at 6 with Tori Dunnan, Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle, and Sports with Max Cohen.
All right, we are following breaking news right now. As you can see on your screen, there's a traffic backup on I-565 East right near exit 17A to Jordan Lane. We're learning this is after 2 separate car accidents. Again, take another look at the traffic map. If you are headed in that direction, you can expect some delays, and we'll keep you updated on this story. Meantime, though, new at 6, it's that time of year when holiday decorations are going up, but that does come with a bit of risk. We're learning what you can do to keep your home safe this holiday season. WAAY 31 reporter Julia Miller now joining us live from the Huntsville Fire Department with what items exactly pose the most risk. Julia?
Candles and decorative lights. Huntsville Fire and Rescue tell me these are the 2 most common culprits this time of year. People light them for their holiday gatherings or to show off a festive home, forgetting about them and then walking away. Firefighters say you should inspect your holiday lights every year. The older the lights are, the hotter they burn compared to newer LED lights. They recommend you look at the instruction manual to see how many strings of lights should be strung together safely, adding that you should never have any home or holiday decor around heat sources.
Even though a lot of holiday decorations are store-bought, they're made out of plastic, they are just as combustible, if not more so, than live decorations.
He recommends keeping Christmas lighting and candles out of the bedrooms altogether. To learn more about Christmas tree safety or space heater safety, head over to our website, WAAYTV.com. Reporting live in Huntsville with coverage you can count on, Julia Miller, WAAY 31 News.
And right now we're getting our first look at the state Christmas tree at the Capitol building in Montgomery. It is a 37-foot live eastern red cedar. Throughout the week, people will be pitching in to help decorate it. The official tree lighting ceremony is scheduled for Friday. And our nation's capital is looking pretty festive tonight as well. Take a look at some of the White House Christmas decorations. More than 300 volunteers as well as staff members spent the entire weekend putting up 83 trees with more than 28,000 ornaments. This year's theme is a season of peace and light.
Now, WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle with 31 Triple Doppler.
You were also putting up decorations.
I
Did you do that
was.
many trees?
No, not quite that many. Maybe 2, maybe 3 this year.
All right, we got 1 tree up, but it
One
looks
tree.
good.
Yeah, that's really all you need, right? And a little bit else out there. It definitely feels
For
like
sure.
the Christmas season. At least it's not 70 degrees outside while we're trying to decorate. But at the same time, you know, that might feel a lot better than what we've got on the way. We've got more cold air to track. I think tomorrow morning will be about as cold as it is going to feel out of this chilly stretch. These are the wind chill numbers, and just a reminder of what this is. When you have cold temperatures and you have the wind blowing, it makes you feel colder on exposed skin because that wind basically pulls heat away from your body. Right now, you have a very teeny tiny layer of warm air right next to your skin. Well, if you got the wind blowing, it takes that away, and that's why it feels colder. You know what I'm talking about. On a cold morning, it's fine. Then you get that gust of wind and you get a shiver. Well, these are the numbers that wind is going to be making it feel like to the average person, and those readings, teens tomorrow morning. We often tell you this is what you have to dress for, so kind of plan accordingly. Make sure you have that warm winter coat, the gloves, the hat, all that good stuff as you head out the door tomorrow morning, and make sure the kids are going to be warm enough at the bus stop as well. 58 is that average high. We're still not going to be back around that for a little bit, although we're closer Wednesday. Brief warm-up, and I'll emphasize brief because there's another punch of cold air that'll drop us back into the 40s for highs by Thursday and Friday. And then by the time we reach the weekend, we are going to see us get out of this colder pattern we've been in since Thanksgiving, and a more sustained climb back closer to average temperatures appears to be on the way at that point in time. But in the meantime, it does look like we're going to be tracking more chilly air ahead. There's that temperature outlook later this weekend and on into next week. And remember, the last couple weeks, what we've been showing you, a lot of blue and purple, which was indicating a colder than average pattern. Well, that's kind of gone away here in the eastern part of the country. We're not necessarily getting back to a strong signal for warmer than average conditions, but at least it's not going to be quite as cold going forward, starting this weekend and probably continuing through much of next week. We also remain dry for the time being. WAAY 31 triple Doppler not picking up any rainfall, but monitoring some light snow. It is lightly snowing around Nashville, Clarksville, Tennessee, up into parts of southern Kentucky around Bowling Green. The bulk of this moisture, though, is going to pass us to the north and to the east. We've got very dry air in the lower part of the atmosphere, so some of this precipitation, in fact, quite a bit of it south of Nashville, not quite reaching the ground. It is being detected by radar, but evaporating before it makes its way down to the ground, and that's what we're going to be battling here. So I'm not expecting anything more than just a couple snow flurries that'll be developing here in the next couple of hours. Best chance for seeing some of those will be areas of southern Middle Tennessee, but we might get a couple flakes that fly in North Alabama. The picture at 9 o'clock is as bad as future radar is showing, so we're not expecting any sort of problems out there, no accumulations, no travel issues. By midnight tonight, likely that's a done deal. Cloud cover will start to break up later tonight into tomorrow morning with a quick clearing trend through the day on your Tuesday. Plenty of sunshine around the lunch hour and through tomorrow afternoon, but don't be fooled. It'll look nice and warm out, but then you'll step out and you'll know that is not the case with a chill in the air through the day tomorrow. Another very cold morning, Wednesday morning with clear skies. We'll bring some clouds back in Wednesday afternoon, and temperatures will start to recover briefly before that next shot of chilly air arrives Thursday into Friday. These are your lows tonight, down into the mid-20s, perhaps down to 23 in Fort Payne, and again, it'll feel like the teens in the morning. Your planner tomorrow, again, a lot of sun, but it is just a slow warm-up. We stay in the 30s through midday, only expecting to top out lower 40s heading into tomorrow afternoon, well below that average of 58 for this time of year. Only 40 in Rainsville, 38 in Skyline, 43 for Huntsville, Decatur 41, 42 in Town Creek, and only 42 tomorrow in Florence. WAAY 31 Storm Tracker 10-day has a brief bounce back into the 50s on Wednesday before we drop back into the 40s for highs and 20s for lows again to close out the work week. Saturday looks dry. We may have some showers back in here on Sunday with, again, that sustained, I won't necessarily say warm up, but we'll say bounce back in temperatures into the 50s to around 60 later into the weekend and heading into early next week. And even after we bring in some rain next Monday into Tuesday, does not look like that will be followed off by a big drop in temperature again. So perhaps staying closer to our average highs for this time of year instead of the colder than average stuff we've had here in the last few days.
So is Friday colder than tomorrow then?
It'll be
Will it feel
close.
like it?
Yeah, we're going to get another punch of that cold air late in the week. So I think tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday will be very similar to the way it's going to feel.
All right. Well, we get to experience it twice.
Yes.
There you go. Max?
A wild year on the Hill ends with a coaching change. Connell Maynor is out as the Bulldogs head coach. More on his departure next in sports.
Now, WAAY 31 Sports with Max Cohan.
The Maynor era is over on the Hill. This afternoon, Alabama A&M announced that head coach Connell Maynor had been relieved of his duties after 7 seasons with the Bulldogs. Maynor took over at Alabama A&M in 2018, going 40-32 with a 28-21 mark in SWAC play during his time in Normal. The Bulldogs won a SWAC and HBCU national championship during the COVID-shortened 2021 spring season, but struggled to reach that level again, failing to finish with a winning record in the last 3 seasons. In what ended up being his final year at A&M, Maynor's team went 6-6. In a statement, athletic director Paul A. Bryant said, quote, "We want to thank Connell Maynor for his 7 seasons at Alabama A&M University. We wish him well in his future endeavors. A national search for Maynor's replacement is underway." Now that college football's regular season is in the books, there are a lot of questions, but none bigger in Alabama than the Tide's playoff fate. Kalen DeBoer's squad certainly has made their case to be among the distinguished dozen, but it's not up to them. In fact, this time tomorrow, the committee will release the first of 2 sets of rankings we'll get in the next 6 days. This year, the AP and the CFP rankings have been very similar, and with Alabama at number 11 in Sunday's rankings, the Tide fans are feeling pretty good, but this 12-team playoff is a whole different beast, and you could argue that the 4 other teams also deserve that at-large bid. South Carolina, Clemson, Ole Miss, and Miami will all be hoping to hold the number 11 spot in tomorrow's rankings. But remember, it's the final rankings that really matter, and we won't get those until this Sunday. One team that doesn't have to wonder what's coming next is North Alabama. Today, the Lions released their entire 2025 football schedule. Brent Yearman's squad will start things off on August 30th against the same team that the Tide did this year, Western Kentucky. They'll wrap things up against Southern Utah at Brawley Stadium on November 22nd, and you can take a look at the full schedule on our website at waytv.com. Now, over on the hardwood, both the Tide and Tigers remain in the top 10, Auburn at number 2 and Alabama at 10. And this week, both teams have huge road games in North Carolina. They'll both be in action on Wednesday. It'll be a top 20 battle as the Tar Heels and Crimson Tide battle on Wednesday at 6:15, and then a top 10 battle between Auburn and Duke on Wednesday at 8:15. So things start to slow down a little bit with football, and then we get a couple huge basketball games. But as we always say, it's a good thing they're playing inside because would not be great weather for that.
No, not
at all.
Not good weather to be playing on the outside basketball courts right now, that's for sure. Definitely feeling like winter out there. We got another punch of cold air. That means tomorrow will be as cold as it's been here through this chilly stretch. Only 43 for the high. That's after dropping into the mid-20s tonight. Again, there could be a few snow flurries that come through this evening, but that is it. We're not expecting anything more significant. Another punch of chilly air will keep the highs in the 40s the end of this week, and then it looks like by the weekend we're finally going to turn the corner on this colder pattern that we've been in for the last 4 or 5 days, and a more sustained climb back into the 50s for highs. Also, some needed rainfall likely coming towards the end of this weekend and on into the beginning of next week.
Well, next week looks a little bit better, right?
Better. It'll feel better. Yes, absolutely.
Right. Well, we'll wait for that. And then you have a big weekend, so.
Yeah, I guess so.
Finding out what happens, right? All right, have a great night, and we'll see you back here at 10 o'clock.